Hello, and here we are back again at Perfectly Paranormal, episode 124. My name's Anna Schmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. And today we're doing something slightly different. Even though the dark and the demonic beings are still included, you're going to be learning how to create a one-way transition doorway into the afterlife. Now you may be wondering, why would you want to do such a thing? I will be explaining. We're going to look at a simple 5-step process that anyone can use to create this one-way doorway. And no, well, yes, it is portal, but it is not a two-way portal. And we're going to be talking about all this as we get into it. We're going to look at how to use your intention to create this doorway. What this doorway or transition point or transition beam, as I call it, what it can look like, where it goes, and who can use it. Are you intrigued? Are you interested? This is a process that I use quite a lot as an energy worker. So in the last episode, I asked permission from the land to activate a transition beam. Now this was on a piece of land where Liz lived. Now Liz is a lady that she sends me lots of questions. She has lots of comments, lots of suggestions, things that I could talk about, things that she shares, that she experiences in the paranormal world. And episode 123 is rather interesting. So with Liz's issue that she had in that episode, we managed to fix it. I managed to help that piece of land. But then when you clear land, you do any sort of energy clearing, it's pumping out this vibe, and all the spirits in the local vicinity that are looking for help are going to come to that location. So I said to Liz, what I could do would be to set up what I call a transition beam. And what this does is that it helps lost local souls to find a safe place to transition into the afterlife. They go to the light, as they say. And it's only if they choose to. There's no force with this. And Liz was super happy about this idea. And she lovingly called it the golden portal to heaven. I thought that was so sweet. It made my day, put a big smile on my face when I read that. So are you an energy worker, a paranormal enthusiast, an investigator, or just someone who attracts spirits because of your vibration? There are a lot of people out there like that. And they have a constant bunch of spirit groupies around them, and they just don't know what to do. They're around the people, they're around people's homes, they're following them, they're just driving people a little bit crazy. Well, you can offer them a way out. Believe it or not, what I'm sharing today does not take years of learning or studying. It's all about your intention. Because intention is focusing your thoughts and your energy on an outcome. And you can use it in all parts of your life. But today we are going to be focusing your intention on learning how to activate a transition point for spirits into the afterlife. Now, I call it a transition beam because here in Tasmania there is a certain business that shoots a beam up into the sky every year as a type of, it's an art installation, we'll call it. And to me, that is like a beam off into the heavens. And that's where I got that idea of calling it a transition beam. But you can call it lots of things, which we're going to talk about later. Now, this is a way that us mere mortals can assist spirits to reach the other side. These spirits may not have been ready to go when they died. They may not have known that they died. They might have died in shock, or they were scared, or they're unsure, or they just missed the boat and they're like, I'm just going to be stuck here for all of eternity. Well, it isn't the case. We can assist them if we choose to. There's no pressure to do this. But I'm offering people who have this problem, and believe me, there are a lot of you out there, please don't panic. It is a type of portal. Now, you hear me talk about portals all the time. But there are positive portals and there are negative portals. Again, it's all about intention. we are going to be focusing our intention on creating a one-way doorway into the afterlife waiting room. So nothing dark can enter. Nothing dark can come into this reality through the doorway that you are creating. Now, I initially created this beam because after every house clearing job, my house would be filled to the brim with a constant flow of spirits. Now, this was day and night, and they were all wanting help, and it was just way too much for my brain and my body to cope with. They're just draining. They don't mean to be, but they just are. Now, a friend of mine in the past did something similar at his house, and I thought, I wouldn't mind giving that a try. So it's not my idea. I'm not owning it. I'm just putting it out there for other people to be able to use. So I create the intention for these transition beams to be on properties when I do energetic clearings. As when I'm finished the job, I will look at the bird's eye view of the property and I'll go, okay, I'm going to put a transition beam there. It's way down the back of the yard, in a corner, behind the woodshed. It's somewhere where people don't go, because you don't want it to be somewhere where people are constantly walking through it all the time, because we mere mortals are going to feel a bit wonky walking through this doorway. And no, you can't get in it and go to the afterlife. You are not in spirit form. You are still in your body, and your physical body cannot be transported yet. So don't create this doorway and then go and stand in it. All right? If people are going to do stupid things with me giving this information, that's your problem. If you create something that lets something dark in, I haven't given you that intention, all those instructions. So think about your intention before you do this. I'm sorry if that sounded like a mum lecture. I tend to get on my box about these things. So the one I've got here in my backyard is permanent. The ones that I create on people's properties are only what I call temporary transition beams. And I ask that they're there for, say, a week or 2 weeks after the house clearing job. Because once the initial energy of the property settles after the clearing, the spirits don't come anymore and the doorway doesn't really need to be there. So you just put a time frame on it. If you only want it there for a certain period of time, I know the universe doesn't work on time, but the archangels do their best to work with us. So you can do that. This is all about your intention. And no, this is a big no. You can't create a transition doorway or a transition beam or whatever you want to call it on other people's property without their permission. Just because you think it should be there doesn't mean it needs to be there. That is energetically trespassing. So if you think someone needs this and they might be open to it, please talk to the people first, because you might just get an energetic slap on the wrist from the archangels for doing such a thing. So let's look at, what does the beam look like? Or what does our transition point look like? Now, this is where you get creative. You're creative with your intention. There's no rules or regulations other than it is a positive energy one-way doorway going into the afterlife. That is the wording you need to use. This transition beam in my yard shoots off into the sky, like I mentioned earlier, and it's got kind of a golden glow around it, so the spirit people can easily see it from a distance. And they can easily walk into it, and off they go to be with their friends and families that have passed over. Now, you can ask for a higher vibrational supporter to be present at the doorway. They don't have to be angels. It can be any higher vibrational supporter that you work with. So you can ring a doorbell and they can be there to assist the spirits. You can also think of it as a spiritual door in the traditional sense, or an elevator. Push the button and away they go. They get in, the door closes and off they go. You could create a stairway, an escalator, a roller coaster carriage. You could create a train carriage. Whatever your intuition guides you to create, and whatever you're comfortable with having on your property. Now, this is something that I found was necessary. You need to create an energetic sign. Make it a big neon sign that said, "Spirits, please come here to transition." Because I found I set up this beam in the back of my yard, which is a fair distance from the house, and they didn't know it was there, and they were still coming into my house, and I was having to point them in the direction of it. And then they were like, oh yeah, we see it now. And off they would go in their little groups. So put some sort of neon sign or a big red arrow or something pointing to this transition beam so that the spirits know what it is. Have a sign. Like, I found that was quite funny, but necessary. So where does this beam go? This transition beam is going to go into what I call the afterlife waiting room. So spirits don't get a free ticket into heaven or mass consciousness. All soul energies have to review their lives, their actions, their choices, and possibly reincarnate to learn further, life lessons here on Earth. But at least these transition beams, doorways, elevators, golden portals into the afterlife help earthbound spirits reach that next level of their existence. Can other entities use this doorway? This is where we get into the lower vibrational beings. Absolutely. The higher realms do not discriminate. Now, I've talked about it in previous episodes. Dark entities can use these beams to leave their old lives behind as well. They have free will. They're not what you see in the movies. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that now. They are a vibration. They are energy. And they too, I've had many of them tell me in the past that they're just tired of this existence and they want something better. Because remember, all dark energy comes from light initially, and they can go back to the light. And I'm sure that they're going to be watching this process as someone creates this beam in their backyard and they're like, oh, goody, a way out. So the process, here we go. You might want to get out a pen and paper, or you might just want to look at the transcript and do a cut and paste. You can do that. That's what it's there for. Now, the 5-step process for creating a transition doorway. Number 1, decide on the space on your property where would be most likely to not be disturbed. Best to have it away from the home, away from driveways, social areas, pet areas, pools, fancy gardens that you walk around in, away from your vegetable garden. Have it in a corner somewhere where it's not going to interfere with your life. It doesn't have to be a big space, because remember, it's all about intention. So next, number 2, decide on what you want it to look like. This is where you have a bit of fun. If you're not sure what you want it to look like, just make it a simple door. It doesn't have to be fancy. I'm a little bit creative. I like to make things a bit jazzy. So that's where I got it with the beam and the golden light and the glitter and all that going on. But that's just me. You don't have to make it fancy. It can simply be a door. Now, you can even add a doorbell. So I've actually added that to where my beam is that there's this white glowing doorbell that the spirits go up, and you make it a bit fun for them. And they go up and they're not scared, they're not frightened, or what is it? Oh, I'm too scared, I'm not going to walk in there. It's all glittering and glowing and looks inviting. And they can press that doorbell. It can sound whatever you want it to sound like. I didn't actually give mine a sound. That's a very good point. But you can just make it what you want, what you think other people might like. And they press that doorbell, and then down comes the angelic supporter, and away the people go. So number 3, have your written statement ready with your activation wording. Focused intention. Read your statement with a clear mind. Use words out loud. Really important. You can say it in your head, but it doesn't have the same oomph as saying it out loud. Words carry a vibration. And you can say it once, or if you're a bit OCD like me, I like to do everything 3 times. I don't know why, I just like the number 3. It just seems to fit. So I'll quite often say my statements 3 times, and it just helps cement it into the ground for me that it's actually there. That's just the way my brain works. Now you're going to be going, oh, what does she mean? What do I write? People make these things way too complicated. It only has to be something simple like, I'll give you an example. I call on Archangel Raphael to please come now to activate an everlasting, one-way, energetic, and you could say doorway, portal, gateway, beam, whatever you want, into the afterlife waiting room for all spirits and other entities wishing to cross into the light. So it's very simple. You're asking for a higher vibrational being to be present. You're letting them know what you want, and you're letting them know where it's going to and who can use it. It's really simple process. Now that's just an example. You can scratch out Archangel Raphael and put in there whoever you want. I mean, I created mine myself. I didn't worry about calling on an angelic supporter because I suppose I know they're with me all the time and they're just part of my life and how I work. But you can call on whoever you want to create that doorway into the afterlife. So number 4, to activate it, you just ask your supporter to be there with you, or you can do it by yourself. You've got your location. You've got the type of doorway that you want it to look like. You've got your statement ready. You're ready to activate it. So do it. Don't be frightened or afraid or think you're going to go to hell or you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You are supporting the spirit souls in our environment. The other thing is too, you don't have to be in the space to actually do it. If you're one of those people that needs to go and stand there, feel free. Go and stand down your backyard and do it. But I will often sit at my work desk and I activated mine at my work desk and I activate them around the world when I do house clearings, property clearings. I just see the property, the address, all those sorts of things, what the house looks like, what the backyard looks like. I take myself for a little walk down the bird's eye view off Google Maps and I go, oh, that's a good little spot. I'll go and activate it there. And then I'll let the owner of the property know what I've done, how long it will be there for. So number 5 is you just simply now trust the process and you know that it's there and you know that it's doing the job. Now occasionally you can ask with dowsing rods or a pendulum to see if it's still functional, to see if it needs maybe reactivating or cleansing, or if you want to change the design, because remember, it's all up to you what it looks like. I used to do that, but I don't check it anymore because I just know that it's there. You've set it up with the intention of helping earthbound souls get into the afterlife. It's going to be there. You've done it with the goodness of your heart to help other people. So what do you think? Is this an idea, something that might benefit you, your family, your home, your property? Are you going to have a go? Are you going to use your intention? Because intention is everything. So if you want to leave me a fan mail message or send me an email, my email is in the description box. Just let me know how you go with it. If you've got any questions, you know, I'm always here to help with these sorts of things because I've learnt this through all of my own experimentation and I trust it. I trust the process and I know that I am helping lost souls find a doorway to be with their loved ones on the other side, and you can do it too. End of episode 124. So in episode 125, we have Ellie Pechette with us. Ellie is a natural-born shaman, a medium, astral traveller, and an author of a book called Hitching a Ride, which is a guide to earthbound spirits and how they affect you. Ellie works worldwide healing pets, people and wildlife, all through her Pechette healing technique. So let's get into Bob. So stay tuned for next week's rather interesting and fascinating episode with Ellie, and I look forward to spending time with you then. If you like the content of this episode today, please think about leaving me a rating and a review. What reviews do is they let other people know your thoughts about my supernatural subject matter. People love reading reviews, and we're spreading the word about the real paranormal world around us. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the episode. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.